Greetings YouTube, welcome to my next weapons build. I have been a fan of Indian katars for as long as I can remember, since I first saw one in a book as a reference, as a picture. And a katar is a type of punch dagger. It has a kind of a triangular shaped blade, usually very long. Sometimes they're forked. I've actually seen ones that had springs open that into 3 points, kind of like a sword catcher. And they have long guards that go on the other side of the hands, so your forearm is partially protected, and then there is a crossbar which acts as the grip. And so you have this blade essentially sticking out of the end of your hand, and they can be very ornate. They're beautifully done. I would love to own an actual real-world katar. It's not in my price range at this point in my life. But I love the design of a powerful weapon that is a punching. And not long ago I made a saw blade into a punching weapon, but that's a saw blade. It's not quite the same as a penetrating weapon, and I can't make a blade nor attach it the way I want to a punch dagger at this point because I don't weld. So I'm going to try something different. This is going to be turned into a U-shaped guard. So it's going to be one section here, there'll be a section here where it fits over the hand, and another section. So the whole thing will turn into a rectangular kind of bracket, like a narrow U. And it's going to have, as a grip, 2 steel tubes. Now, I have seen katars that had round handles, I've seen ones with rectangular handles, and I've seen a number of designs that had 2 or 3 bars that acted as the grip. So I found this was the narrowest steel tube I could get at the hardware store, and this is going to be the tubing that fit the threaded rod that fits inside this tubing, which will be what holds that together. I'm going to use 2 of these, probably set 1 inch on center from each other, so it'll be a little bit wider. It'll be like an 1.25 inch, almost 1.5 inches wide when you're done. But just get a nice firm grip. And there'll be a short distance between the end of the bar and my fist. And this is going to end up being the points. And I say points because I'm going to make 3. Partly because I want it to be the width of the hand in a single point. I don't think has the same visual appeal as having 3, because you imagine the 3 coming out of your knuckles, just like Wolverine. But I'm going to have the center one be longer than the 2 side ones. It's going to be more trident-like in that regard. You can't slash with this, obviously. This is going to be a pure piercing weapon, but I think it's going to look cool when I'm done. Combine that with my saw blade cestus, and you definitely have a great combo of both attack and defense for both slashing and a piercing weapon. So that's going to look very cool when I'm done. So I have never creased a piece of steel and bent it in this way. So I'm going to practice on this piece right here first. I'm going to make a cut across there nice and straight, and then I'm going to see if I can bend it the way I want to. Maybe practice in another piece somewhere else, find a piece of scrap somewhere, because I don't want to ruin this. So I know I'm going to have to make a crease across here, and then that will be my bend line. So I need to practice that before I get anywhere, and I think I'm going to make it probably about that long, maybe a little bit longer. Maybe I'll go a full foot, like a full foot bend, probably 5 inches wide. I'll make some confirmed measurements with the glove on, so 5 inches will be wide enough, and then another foot, and then the rest of the piece will be used for something else in the future. So welcome to this build, and the first thing I need to do is practice a little bit on this after I gear up and my safety stuff. And darn it, I just realized I have the wrong shoes on. I have to go upstairs and change my shoes. Awesome. Alright, bye. So, the first scrap I tried was too thick. This is a piece of scrap I found which is the same thickness. So, if I come in at kind of an angle, not straight down like this, I bring the cutting wheel like this, so I'm kind of more of a U or a V. I can then get pretty much a nice square angle. I mean, I need a little bit of more finesse with the final piece, but I think I can pull it off. I really do. The only concern I have now is, can I get my vise into a position to let me do it? Because I may not be able to use this vise like that, because I don't know if I've got the clearance Because, yeah, in retrospect, maybe I should have mounted these two here instead of here and here. I'm not 100% sure why I did that. I gotta be honest with you. I do not remember why I did it that way. But I might have been better off if I put them here. I guess I could technically move it. Getting that one is the pain in the butt because it's inside. That may have been why I did it. Now that I think about it, is to make sure that that had clearance so I could get a wrench and everything from the inside, because that goes all the way through and it's inside the drawer. Whereas these two are floating out here on the edge, because I had this piece of plywood sits on top of the original top that came with the bench, because it was stain and it was just press board. This is plywood and it's easy to replace. And it's also bigger slightly. So yeah, I don't know. I'll see if I can get this into position. If I get into position, then I can bend it more easily. If I don't, then I'm going to have to come up with some kind of clamp here. And speaking of clamps, I recently discovered I can do this. I can take I took my standard squeeze clamps and I cut off the little stops so that I could do this. Makes them much more versatile. I'm really happy about that. Quick and easy. Alright, let's see if I can figure out how to get this clamp to do what I need to. This vise, rather. Thankfully, I remembered I have to drill 3 holes in this thing before I bend it. So, I drilled the 3 holes, because that's where the bolts are going to go, the threaded rods. So yeah, good, smart. I remembered. I'm very proud of myself. So now I need to cut a line here and a line here with the cutoff wheel, and then I need to figure out a way to bend it, because this is not going to cut it. I think I have an idea. We're going to see if it works. Alrighty, so this clamp right here is a clamp that I had designed years ago, and it's the reason my bench has got 2 holes in it. This is the purpose. This is a plate. I can't remember where I picked it up. I think it might have been an estate sale. And I just happened to like it because it was thin, and because I had these threaded rods, I could make this thing, clamp large objects together if I wanted to, for any purpose, as long as they fit between here. So this is what I'm going to try to bend up towards very slowly, very carefully. See if I can get that to be a nice, tight, right angle. And I'm going to be using that as a bit of a persuader, and that's a hammer I picked up at another estate sale. I don't remember where or when. So I'm going to put my gloves on so I can start bending this very carefully, and then give it a little English with that, see if I can get a right angle. Have you ever had an answer staring you right in the face and you weren't smart enough to figure it out until you tried something else? Thankfully, I smartened up before I went too far, because I remembered vices grip things in more than one position. Yay me! So I put it in here, and now this is not perfectly 90 yet, but also remember there's going to be 2 bars here pulling things together. So when I'm done, it will be parallel. And of course, the reason I haven't cut this end off yet is I want to make sure that these are the same length. And so it's easier to bend this. I decided on 9 inches instead of 12. I just kind of like the length. I like the ratio, the balance a little bit more. 5 inches to 9 inches. I think that's a better visual balance. So I'm going to make sure that this side matches this side once I'm done. And then I'm also going to make the ends look a little bit nicer. Also less dangerous to the person using it, because you don't want to be wielding something that's got sharp points. Yeah, I know my bench is a mess. That's life. Alrighty. And Mike always throws tarps and stuff over his stuff in his shed when he's working. It makes me smile. I guess am I more honest or am I more messy? I don't know which. Alrighty, so now it's going to be flip it over and do the same thing, because I'm right-handed, so it's easier to hit on this direction. And then cut it to length. And then I have to figure out exactly how far I want the handles, and I haven't set those up yet for the same reason as I didn't set up this length yet, because I want everything to line up And I can't do that until after I finish the bends. Alrighty, so time for bend 2. So I rounded the ends off, so they are no longer sharp. And now I need to lay out where I want the 2 holes to be. And I will make every effort to make them the same distance. Whoops, that's not going to be perfect. Not going to be easy because they're not parts. This bend is not perfect, but I will try to make them right across from each other. What I'll probably do is I'll probably drill one, pin it, and then drill the other one. Obviously, I have to take the whole thing apart because I'm going to have to put this on my drill press, clamp it down to the table. But I may do that just because I'll get the best chance of getting them exactly in line with each other. So find the center, which is easy. I've just used my pair of vernier calipers. Find the distance I want, which is probably going to be here. This first hole about here, and then the second one about here, and that will make this far more rigid than it is at the moment. And then drill 2 holes. I think they're 3/8. I'll have to confirm that. And then I can cut the tubing and the rods, and I have acorn nuts to go on the end. It's kind of like make it a nice little finish look. And then I can start working on the spikes themselves, because those are going to be a little more labor intensive because it's not just cutting the length. I have to put tips on them. I decided to live dangerously. I put both marks on there, but I set it up this way. So I came off the table surface up to the first one, up to the second one, and then I marked it and then measured from the first one to the second one. So I didn't come off this at all. I came off the surface of the table. So I should be pretty accurate. And I had to set up my table like this so that it'll get through there. Oh, am I hidden there? Just a little bit. I have to tweak that a little bit. I have to turn this slightly. I think it moved when I tightened it. But yeah, I have to set it up so that the drill bit will go there, or the broaching bit, because that way I can clamp it like that, and it's not going to go anywhere. And there's my little clamp right there, my spacer blocks. And that will be a pass-through. That's the nice thing about a drill press like this, is that you can swing the table in and out, so you can get right down to the edge like this when you have to. That's really quite handy. There is the handle completed. So, gives you a nice firm grip, keeps it from rotating like this, unless you want to rotate it right like this, because you're using your wrist. But nice, good spacing. I actually went with 3/4 of an inch because I realized that with the overall diameter, it was going to be a little too wide if I went 1 inch. So I went 3/4, and that seemed to work out fine. And it did bow that ever so slightly, but not enough that I'm going to worry about it. Again, I'm going for a post-apocalyptic aesthetic. So now that I have this bit done, now the other bit is going to be cutting the points and cutting the tips, and then putting points on those. So I need to figure out how long I want it. I may go 9 inches, because that's 9 inches. And I may go I think I'll cut 9 and see if I like it. And if 9's too long, I can always cut it down. You can always cut more off. You can't stretch it. Okay, so here we have a 9 and 2 6s. And I think I'm going to sharpen these. And I'm definitely going to stick with the 6s. I don't know about the 9. I may bring that down to an 8. But the beautiful thing about threaded rod is that I can just cut this end off after I get the point. Once I get the point, I'll have a better idea of exactly what it's going to look like. And nothing's tight at the moment. I just finger tightened this so I can have an idea what it'll look like. So yeah, it's coming together. That may be a smidge long. Maybe. I'm going to put it together. I may want to bring that down an inch. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe once I get the points, then I'll have the full impact. Or in this case, the full thrust. Thrust, get it? Yeah, whatever. Okay, time to make points on the ends of these things. It doesn't have the elegance of a guitar, There is no way that this is ever going to be considered something that's beautiful. But by gosh and by golly, it's deadlier than hell. This came out really nice. I am very happy with this. Very happy. This is cool. This came out just lovely. So yeah, that's the completed build. One afternoon project. Since I actually have a 2-day weekend, maybe I can get to one tomorrow, who knows. But yeah, this is just grand. Thank you for being here, folks. If you could, go check out my DeviantArt and my Instagram. And if you'd like, please follow me on both. I post cool stuff. And if you go to the Instagram, I post cat pictures frequently. Alrighty, so thank you for being here for this build, and I hope that you will be here for the next one.